often see graphs with past predictions about our climate or our temperature, and these graphs often go back to thousands or millions of years in the past, and you might be wondering, well, how do they get that information? Often that information is conducted through proxy data, such as ice core extraction. So scientists will take a really large drill, they'll bore it deep in the ice, and they will take this drill out of the ice, and they pull up a sample of an ice layer, and they look at these ice layers to get indications of past CO2, sedimentation deposits, and to get an idea about what happened in our past climate. But it's important to note that we're using present data to look at past information. So if we weren't there to directly observe what happened in the past, there's only so much information that we know, and your worldview bias is going to influence those results as well. Often we see those little air bubbles, like I mentioned, that are trapped in the layers for CO2 readings, and a lot of times scientists will use these different layers to equate to a single year for dating the Earth, and that's why we see those projections in the past of millions or thousands of years, which we of course don't agree with. But there's research that shows that those single layers don't equate to an annual 1 year, and we have an exhibit at the Ark Encounter showcasing this. During World War II, there were a few planes that were on their way to Scotland via Iceland, but there was a very large storm, so they needed to make an emergency landing. And when they landed, they had to abandon their planes. And these planes were found under 250 feet of snow, less than 50 years after they landed. And we observed far more than 50 of these so-called annual layers when these planes were uncovered. So every single layer of snow and ice that was deposited did not equate to a single year. So that's important to consider and keep in mind when we see these dates of thousands or millions of years using this proxy data information with ice core.